Hey guys, I wanted to go over the directions a little bit more for the readings, as well as actually start reading them. This will be for the Truman Doctrine. Okay, you're going to do the same directions though for both documents. You're going to highlight in yellow anything that describes the United States and its allies, and you're going to do that for both documents actually. Then you're going to highlight in red writing that describes the USSR and its allies. Okay, so you need to make a copy of this document. Okay, and that's what you're going to submit into Echo, is your copy of it with your highlights. Okay, once you're done with the highlights, there's a chart at the bottom that you need to fill out, and I'll go over that in just a second. Okay, so let me start by reading the Truman Doctrine here for you. Okay, where this is the speech that President Truman gave to introduce it. The United States has received from the Greek government an urgent appeal for financial and economic assistance. This assistance is imperative if Greece is to survive as a free nation. The very existence of the Greek state is today threatened by the terrorist activities of several thousand armed men led by communists who defy the government's authority at a number of points, particularly along the northern boundaries. Greece must have assistance if it is to become a self-supporting and self-respecting democracy. The United States must supply that assistance. There is no other country to which democratic Greece can turn. Greece's neighbor, Turkey, also deserves our attention. As in the case of Greece, if Turkey is to have the assistance it needs, the United States must supply it. We are the only country able to provide that help. One of the primary objectives of the foreign policy of the United States is the creation of conditions in which we and other nations will be able to work out a way of life free from coercion. We shall not realize our objectives, however, unless we are willing to help free peoples to maintain their free institutions and their national integrity against aggressive movements that seek to impose upon them totalitarian regimes. There is no more than a frank recognition that totalitarian regimes imposed on free peoples by direct or indirect aggression undermine the foundations of international peace and hence the security of the United States. The peoples of a number of countries of the world have recently had totalitarian regimes forced upon them against their will. The government of the United States has made frequent protests against coercion and intimidation in violation of the Yalta Agreement in Poland, Romania, and Bulgaria. At the present moment in world history, nearly every nation must choose between alternative ways of life. The choice is too often not a free one. One way of life is based upon the will of the majority and is distinguished by free institutions, representative government, free elections, guarantees of individual liberty, freedom of speech and religion, and freedom from political oppression. The second way of life is based upon the will of a minority forcibly imposed upon the majority. It relies upon terror and oppression, a controlled press and radio, fixed elections, and the suppression of personal freedoms. I believe that it must be the policy of the United States to support free peoples who are resisting attempted subjugation by armed minorities or by outside pressures. I believe that we must assist free peoples to work out their own destinies in their own way. I believe that our help should be primarily through economic and financial aid, which is essential to economic stability and orderly political process. It is necessary only to glance at a map to realize that the survival integrity of the Greek nation are of grave importance and in a much wider situation. If Greece should fall under the control of an armed minority, the effect upon its neighbor Turkey would be immediate and serious. Confusion and disorder might well spread throughout the Middle East. Collapse of free institutions and loss of independence would be disastrous not only for them but for the world. Discouragement and possibly failure would quickly be the lot of neighboring peoples striving to maintain their freedom and independence. Shall we feel to aid Greece and Turkey in this fateful hour, the effect will be far-reaching to the west as well as to the east. I therefore ask Congress to provide authority for assistance to Greece and Turkey in the amount of $400 million for the period ending in June 30th, 1948. This is a serious course upon which we embark. I would not recommend it, except that the alternative is much more serious. This is an investment in world freedom and world peace.